Hi, I'm Kat and I'm making my own wedding dress. It has been so long since my last video and I have a million years worth of stuff to catch you up on. I've got all of the supplies, at least I think I've got all of the supplies that I need for my wedding dress. I got them while I was back in the States visiting my parents, and now that I'm back home I'm ready to get started making this dress. But before I get into telling you about all of the amazing fabrics that I have and all of the cool beads and all the other little bits and pieces that I've got, just a quick update on the wedding. We finalized our venue last week, which is very exciting. It also means we have a date set, which is very scary, and it also means that I have a deadline for the dress, which is why it's very scary. So our wedding is going to be up north a little ways on February 2nd, 2019, which means I have just under a year to make this thing actually happen, these two dresses. So it's time to get cracking. I finally have a deadline. It seems a little bit more real now, which I think is generally what happens when things start to come together. But since it seems more real, it is time to begin. So for the first dress, if you remember, it was going to be that like long flowy sort of thing with the beaded bodice and everything. So I have 3 layers of fabric that I'm going to use to achieve it, and I'm going to do 3 different layers, 3 different colors of dye on each of the 3 types of fabric. So the top layer is this silk gauze. It's almost completely see-through here, so you can see, you can see my whole hand through there. So that's going to be a really beautiful flowy top layer. It's 100% silk, all of it is, so I'm going to be dyeing it with acid dye. So that's my top layer. Then my second layer is a chiffon, which is still pretty transparent, but a little bit less so you get a little bit less detail through that than you do with the silk gauze. So that's going to be the second layer, and I'm anticipating things are going to sort of gather and drape and create different dimensions of the color that way. And then the lowest layer, which is also the base of the dress as well as the base of the second dress, is this. This is inside out, it's a little bit shiny on the inside, is this crepe back silk satin. So that's got a really beautiful sort of satiny texture to it, which is really nice. It also is going to hold the color really beautifully. So that will be the lowest layer of the skirt, the darkest color of the dye, and also this will be what's underneath all of the beading on top. So I've got, as you can see, quite a lot of that fabric, because that's actually going to be 2 dresses. It's going to be the full circle skirt and the bodice on the first dress, as well as quite a full skirt on the second dress. And then if you remember the second dress, I had some gores with different color fabric coming through, sort of hidden under those pleats. So for that one, I've chosen this really, really floaty silk habitai. That's not incredibly transparent, it is a little, so it's all going to be layered. I'm not terribly worried about anyone being able to see through anything. But that has a really nice sheen to it, as you can see, so that's again going to hold those colors really well. And I've also come up with this color scheme for the second dress as well, which is so exciting, all very exciting. But before I get to show you the beads, I'm going to show you the understructure as well. So the first very important thing is I've got some corset making coutil, I think is how you pronounce that. It's like it's a really densely woven herringbone weave cotton that is perfect for understructure because it doesn't sort of warp in any direction, so it's gonna hold everything right where it needs to be held. And that's just a natural color. It's probably gonna stay the natural color. There's not really any point dyeing it unless I want to have bright pink lining, which who knows, could happen. And then I have also got the boning, which is a spiral steel boning. Pardon the paper here. This is spiral steel boning, so it's still flexible, but it's definitely enough to be holding things up. As you can see, it's sort of got a spiral to the bone, but it's a flat. It's kind of like a squished spring. So I've got my fabrics that I've shown you, and I've got the understructure, which I've shown you. So the last thing that I want to show you is all the embellishments. I have quite a few beads that I've gotten. Almost all of the beads have come from Fire Mountain Gems in the US. So I have got a whole big bag, all of these different shades of white. All these different shades of white are different types of beads, different textures, slightly different colors, so that I can do different things with the design. I'm embroidering on that invisible tulle, so everything is just going to sort of float on top of the dress. And I've also got some different sizes of beads as well. I have a stand-in tiny pearl, because I couldn't find actual pearls that were small enough. Whoever wants small pearls. I couldn't find actual pearls that were small enough for what I was trying to achieve, so I've got these sort of pearly white glass beads. And then I also have, this is the smallest size pearl that I could find. These are just cultured freshwater pearls, so they're nothing incredibly fancy, but they have a slightly different sheen to the glass, and they're also a different size, and they are a little bit, they're not all exactly the same shape, which I like. I think it's going to make things look a little bit more organic. So I've got all that going on for the ceremony dress, plus the Swarovski crystals. So I've chosen opal as a base for the Swarovski crystal. So there's still quite a bit of shine, but it's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to sort of catch the light and put out photos. It's not going to be the first thing you see. It's just going to be a little bit of low-key sparkle. So I've also got a couple of different Swarovski crystal colors that are going to go with the reception dress, along with a color scheme that I've chosen for the reception dress, which is sort of a pinks and light blues and like a seafoam kind of green color. So those are all going to be sort of focused up around the top of the dress, right? There's not going to be too much going on into the skirt, because then the dye will reflect the colors on the top, and I'll have a nice middle zone almost of the white that shows off the structure of the dress really nicely. At least that's the idea. So many beads. And then I went a little even crazier on the colors, and I've got this little bag here of different sort of spring tones. So I've got some nice peachy pinks, and spring greens and some other things like that, and that is going to be the flower crown, which I'm going to work on very soon. And I've also got some wire and things for the flower crown as well that I'm going to use to make everything hold. So that's my plan. I'd like to say I have everything I need, but I'm sure I'm going to run into some problems with things that I don't. The one thing that I haven't taken care of yet is the sequins. I know I showed you this before. This is my sequin sample card. So this has all of the wedding sequins on it, and I need to make a decision about what color sequin I want and what shape sequin I want so that I can order those, but I still have to order them from France, and the shipping is probably going to take a while. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm making pretty good progress for not having started anything really. Like, I haven't sat down to a sewing machine with any of this fabric yet. All my fabric still needs to be dyed. Making good progress. So I know I went through a lot of things in this video, so if there's anything in particular that you want to see more of, I'm posting a whole bunch of still photos on my blog of all of the beads and all of the fabric, and I'll try to get some, you know, good light sort of layering shots so that you can really see the fabric up close. So you should definitely check that out on my blog. I'll also post links to all of the places I've bought this stuff from. I bought almost all the stuff that I needed for the wedding dress back in the US while I was there visiting my parents, and incidentally, if you want to check out my blog post, I've also posted some pictures of my mom's wedding dress, both some up-close ones and some photos with me in the dress, even though it's a little bit comically short on me. That's okay. This is what we do. So you can go check out those photos on my blog at catmakes.com. There's a whole wedding section so you can see all the other videos as well. I hope you like this video. Please leave a comment if you have something to say. I'd love to hear from you. You can also come follow me on Instagram at catclevenow. My blog is catmakes.com. So you can subscribe on my blog to updates in your email, and you can also subscribe on YouTube if you want to get notified when I post a new video, which I promise won't be a month and a half this time. See you next time!